to see if I'm on. Okay, so it looks like I'm on. Okay, I can see everybody's comment. I'm coming on a little earlier today. Thank God. Thank God. But that doesn't mean that it hasn't been very busy. It's been very, very busy. We've had a lot of reading today because of open records. And so I will begin. I'll begin by saying 1,609 days since Richard was premeditatedly murdered on Fort Bliss, okay, by, well, the key suspects or the prime suspects are Dallas Hart, his platoon leader, and then, of course, Leilani Hart, Dallas's Hart's mother, who was, pretty intimate with her family member, who was CID agent Tavita Nusa. We have, so many complaints in about all that. But those are the prime suspects, and we've been doing this for quite a while. So, we wouldn't say it if we didn't have hard evidence. And, even with all the tampering, there was so much tampering going on at so many different levels. And that's all starting to break because, in this world with AI, with the internet, with, people take screenshots, those files go into the cloud, and you've got NSA, you've got CIA. Even if you're working in the CIA and the NSA, and you have people in FBI, and you have people that are generals that will tamper, 4-star generals that will tamper with the records and with evidence and all of that for you. You just, with social media, there is just too many variables, too many variables. The stars in their course fought against Sisera. The evidence is there. And, as hard as they worked, and maybe they didn't work as hard as they should have because they're so used to getting away with, uh, with, I want to say half-assed jobs. That's what I want to say. Am I allowed to say that? I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. With being derelict in their duties, with just getting away with their criminal activity and not having to really watch anyone's back, much less their own. And with this case, it's a little different. It's a little different. It came at the same time as the finding of Vanessa Guillen. It came really at a volatile a lot of volatility because politically, because of President Trump in 2020. Those years with President Trump, from 2016 to even 2015, I remember, into 2020, they were just going nutso, these criminals, and that's where the insanity came from, was them gnashing their teeth and screaming out. But of course, they did it in their political power. They abused their power, their positions, and they caused a lot of harm, and even death. And Richard, of course, was a whistleblower first. Well, he was a soldier first, a dedicated soldier, a distinguished honor graduate, um, twice, right? Guidon bearer, was promoted before his peers were, and very quickly, and just so sweet, right? Very, very sweet, sweet, and didn't take advantage of all of the um, temptations that the criminals were. Um, it was a psyop. You know, you're a young man or a young woman, and you go there, and you're away from home, and you think, "Oh, I'm gonna party," and I'm going to mess with this young girl, this 14-year-old girl. No one will know. I'm going to get drunk all the time. I might even use drugs. I'm going to use drugs and party all the time. And just, we call it in Ireland, acting the maggot. You act the maggot, right? You act the maggot, and you think, oh, I'm so far away from home, you know, and what happens? People take pictures of you. People take films of you. People can frame you for DWI or DUI. They can frame you for extort money from you with these pictures, right? Of you messing with a young girl or young boy or whatever. Um, Remember Asia Graham and what happened to her. Um, and when she, fought back, she got retaliation, right? She got retaliation um, in the worst way, in the worst way. So look at what happened to Glennon Oakley Jr. And so Richard was whistleblowing. But the thing about Richard, and I'm so proud of him, is he didn't act the maggot. They tried to make him act the maggot, but he didn't act the maggot. He was warning Boleyn Rocha. He was warning. And when I talked to Boleyn, and clearly the video showed that he cared about her, but he didn't act the maggot with her. He didn't take advantage of her. And when I asked her point blank if she had any kind of intimate relationship with him, and she said, "Oh yeah, one time," and I was like, "Are you kidding me? I'm not a fool. I'm not stupid. What kind of answer is that?" The way she said it, and the way she said it to the people, in my mind, I was like, you're a fool. You're such a fool to think that, you can get away with that kind of answer. And I'm like, okay, well, tell me about his marks. Tell me about him. It's like, prove it, because I will tell you this, Richard had very distinguishable, you couldn't miss some marks on his body. And, so tell me about him. Tell me about him. She couldn't tell me a story. She couldn't tell me anything. She had nothing. She had nothing. She didn't have sex videos. Okay. Richard did. Richard did, and he turned them in. He turned them in. And the smear campaigns were so vicious about Richard. If they had anything on Richard, they would have posted it. But see, he didn't. He didn't act the maggot. Um, she gave me a video of him burning his Hollywood money. He used to buy Hollywood money before he joined the army. He was down in a school with children. It was a mission job, a mission service, and he bought Hollywood money to, give them a Benjamin. Hey, I'll give you a Benjamin if, I guess for like a little bribe to do good or whatever. But he had that kind of Hollywood money even with karate in Ireland. He liked to buy Hollywood money and have a wad full and try to fool people, but it said, for motion picture use only on it. And They were clearly uh, Hollywood money, right? And yeah, so where was I getting to this? But anyway, he was burning some of that Hollywood money, and he was saying, "I'd rather burn it than spend it on whores and blow." And yeah, so he was giving us a message there. She gave me that because she thought maybe I'd be like shocked. Um, but you know, I wasn't shocked. I'm shocked more at how young she was when she told me all this, because I lost all respect for her family. Um, you know, all respect. And I knew they were up to no good. If they would do this and allow this of their daughter, they were up to no good. And of course, the mother did lie to me on the phone. Um, and so did Belen. Belen lied, and she lied, and she lied. Um, and It's because of the weapons trafficking. It's because of the narcotics trafficking. It's because of their criminal activity. And Richard was calling that out. He was a whistleblower. And their connections are pretty hefty. Their connections are good enough that it would give you a false sense of security, that you could get away with loads of crime, um, and get away with it. But wait a minute, this is a temporal world, and you know, there's more to this world, and so something that has always been clear to me because of my absolutely unbelievable parents, my wonderful grandmother. I talk about her all the time, my Oma. Um, and bringing, that there's more. There's more to just this life, and that our legacy is very, very important. And you hear that right now with President Biden, Joe Biden, who I don't, um, they're just saying he has a very disastrous legacy. And, and there, here he is, has this long, long um, history. But what counts is right now, that he's ruined with all of his, um, with all of his crime, because obvious it's all crime. Um, that, that's his legacy. And that if he would have bowed out years ago, a few years ago, his legacy, it would have been much better. People wouldn't have known about the crime, right? They wouldn't have known about that Chinese stuff. Yeah. So, um, they're just the pardoning of his son. Will all of these? My mom was telling me today, 9,000, and this all is all very relevant to the breaking news I have today, because of course, yesterday they were trying to pass this CR, continuing resolution of what, over 1,500 pages. 1,500 pages. I'm going to be working on that for 8-9 months. But I won't put it forth until right before Christmas. Where you have to, before a government shutdown is coming, you'll have to just pass it. you won't have time because you'll have to be buying presents, you'll have to string your lights, you'll have to make your cookies, you'll have to, things that you put off. You'll be so you just have to pass it so you can get on with the Christmas celebration, your Christmas parties or wherever you're going. Um, it is just like the dirtiest trick that they play all the time. And they put a lot of pork in it. And they want to absolutely have an open checkbook. They want to milk that cow. They want to absolutely. It is so criminal. And praise God for Musk, praise God for Elon Musk, and his power, because he got working and started fighting against it. I mean, just it doesn't even matter what was in it. Of course, it was lousy, but it doesn't matter most of it. It doesn't matter what was in it. It's the way they do it all the time, right? The way they just give you no choice to look through things through. You can't run it through the AI, you don't have time because you're worried about what you're going to buy your loved one that you haven't bought yet, and you know maybe some outfit you need to buy to go to a party, and or a Christmas function or something. So it's the way they do it is so sneaky, it's so dirty, it's so criminal. It's just so criminal. And so there's this systemic problem. Uh, there's a systemic problem of being sneaky, of being colluding together, um, scheming together to really rob the American people, rob them, because what are they giving us back? Just debt. They're just giving us debt back. You know, for all that debt, $37 trillion, we should have the absolute pristine roads. The Here I am in South Carolina. We still have all these trees down. Where are the services, right? Um, and part of that money is supposed to be part of the help for this area, the affected areas from the storm that was so long ago already. Um, you know, for $37 trillion in debt, there should not be any waiting time. There should be absolute speed and service and pristine roads and pristine wood care. The forest caring for our forests, or, any kind of public land should be absolute taken care of properly. And part of that is taking care of the forest and all the dead wood and the trees. And then when you have a storm, not so many would fall over. Not so many would do other trees damage because they're falling over. Um, uh, you, so many would not be susceptible to disease or even to fire. All the fire, if we would clean up our forests. But, for $37 trillion of debt, it really just goes into some some foreign country's pocket, right? To build up a foreign country or to destroy a foreign country, or into people that are treasonous, absolute treasonous people, to put, that are contractors or whatever, and put, line their pockets with money. So it really is sneaky. It really shows that and most of the people up there in Congress are lawyers. I don't want to bad talk lawyers, but they don't deserve really a lot of good talk, right? They don't deserve it. And so, there is a systemic problem with the judicial system. There's a systemic problem with the legal system of being sneaky, of colluding, of scheming, of lying, of misrepresentation, of lying, of taking advantage, of extortion. I mean, of being criminal, and lying. Did I say lying? They lie, and all of these things. And it sounds so, so negative. It sounds so negative, but the thing is when you got their number, you got their number. And I think what happened yesterday is, oh, we have their number. And thanks be to God, we had a leader. Elon Musk couldn't do anything without the people. Okay. Without the people, without the people's support, without them absolutely sick and tired of this scheming, of the extortion, of the taking advantage, of the foul play, the foul play with our money. Um, without supporting Elon Musk, he couldn't do anything. He could tweet all he wants, and you know nobody would be rallied. But because we've got their number now, the truth is out there. And all he had to do was rally a little bit, and we all came charging. We all came charging to the phones, charged up our phones, called the phones, called the senators, called everybody up there, the representatives, and said, "Hell no, you're not going to pass this." And so it got defeated, and it got defeated pretty quickly. I don't think they've seen anything like it. But you see, President Trump could not do what he's doing. I mean, he's remarkable. He's absolutely remarkable. He works so hard, but there's so many people that work hard. There's so many people that work hard day in and day out. And and like us, we're working hard day in and day out. Really, we are. I'm not putting a feather in our hat, but we're working very, very hard. And you know, it all depends on the people and the support of the people. And that's why, um, the vote matters. That's why the president matters. That's why elections matter. That's why what Bill Hicks is so criminal. What he did was so criminal with the tampering, scheming to remove Yvonne Rosales, a duly elected district attorney, and to to be appointed there, whatever, however that happened. I don't know. I hope that Governor Greg Abbott, explains that to me one day, because Bill Hicks absolutely is the bottom of the barrel as far as choices go. He had all kinds of problems. He didn't pass his bar exam. He had lawsuits. He had, money problems. I mean, he was not a good choice at all, especially for an appointment. And then, of course, he botched his appointment because he failed to install properly. And so he's never been a DA. His legacy is going to be Bill Hicks, the usurper, impersonator, criminal, obstructor, in the Walmart mass shooting case, in Richard's case, and many other cases. And, I believe in God, so I believe that he's going to have to answer some pretty hefty questions. And, you know, it's scary to think, but he's a criminal. And he's a criminal along with Sam Medrano, who joined in on acting the maggot, absolutely acting the maggot, scheming, colluding, making backroom deals, ex parte communications, um, you know, to make money, to delay, to delay, to delay the Walmart mass shooting, and had no care about the people of El Paso. Just bring in those millions of dollars. And that's state and federal funds. So, the people of the United States. So they should all lose their license. They should all lose their license for this, um, you know, scheming and plotting and, um, making millions of dollars off of their delay and scheming and acting the maggot. I mean, if you want to act the maggot, go to Hollywood, right? Go to Hollywood. You maybe get paid a little bit for acting the maggot. But, they need to lose their license. They need to absolutely lose their license for what they did in the Walmart mass shooting case, for what they did in Richard's whistleblowing case, for what they did in his murder case. Absolutely. And there's other cases too, because I was reading about them in the open records today. So that's, and we have the audio tapes. We have the hard evidence. How many people have evidence of the wrongdoing of a judge and these big defense lawyers? We do. We do. We have evidence of their maggotry. They're acting the maggot. We have the evidence. And we've given it to the media. We've given it to the judges. We've given it to the whole court. Anyone that asks, we've given it out. We've given it. We've made videos. We've made music videos of it with it. So so we've got Bill Hicks. We have the hard evidence with him being a usurper and calling the Secretary of the State, asking for help because, um, you know, a, a media person was asking some questions. Um, anyway, then we have, of course, Joe Spencer, who we have also audio tapes. We have audio tapes with him. What a greedy, greedy, greedy criminal. He's just such a criminal. And he just has walked all over the civil rights of this country. You know, um, to presume a person innocent. Same with Sam Medrano too. Uh, intimidating Patrick Crucius, because I feel like the putting Patrick Crucius in the uniform and the chain and the bulletproof vest, I think that was, they knew that they already had deals to delay the case. I don't think they have any intention of trying the case. And so I was like, then why are they doing that to him? Why are they doing that? It's such an abuse of his rights. And, any criminal, right? In this country, everyone is presumed innocent until proven guilty. And we have civil rights, that we have human rights. And why are they doing that to Patrick Crucius? He looks like he's starving. It looks like they want him dead. Oh my gosh, to me, it seems like they want to intimidate him. And it makes sense. Dealing with children, it makes sense because he has like a child's mind. He has, severe autism. He has a severe mental health condition, right? When he was 3 years old, he was banging his head on the sidewalk. Even in his special ed class, the teacher had a hard time with him and had to put him in a special area because he would start hitting himself. He was, and these children, because I've worked with them, they have also physical limitations. They have fine motor coordination. Try to teach an autistic person in that situation to hold a pencil and to write their name, right? their fine motor skills are harmed by their mental health condition. And so to do those bullet clips and to handle the weapon and to plan everything and to have, the hearing, that's why I'm saying the physical, they have very sensitive to pitches, to certain sound pitches, right? So of course he had the hearing on, which means to me that someone was helping him. But my opinion is that several were helping him, and that was tied to Richard's unit, right? That was tied to Richard's unit. Oh, that's breaking news too, right? But they were engaged in this weapons trafficking. We know that, and we know about the green tip bullets, right? We know about the brown tip bullets. So yeah, so we have Joe Spencer who just let the narrative out there. They all they all knew that Patrick Crusius wasn't a racist, that he wasn't a white supremacist, that he probably didn't even have the mind, the ability. I don't think he had the ability at all to write the manifesto. How did that all happen? And in that little bit of time, like 17 minutes, right? To get there, to do it, to upload the manifesto, to go and turn himself in twice, turn himself in twice to a Hispanic law enforcement officer that told him to go away for the first time, I guess. I don't know who told him to go away for the first time, but go away, come back a little later. It's not time yet, Patrick. It's not time yet. And and then when he did give himself up, he was all clean. His shoes were clean. He wasn't even sweaty. He wasn't even tussled. Nothing, and the damage done in that Walmart was so extreme. So extreme. No, I don't buy the narrative at all because it's not true. It's a lie. The narrative is a lie. And Joe Spencer knew it. And Judge Medrano knows it. And Bill Hicks knows it. And when Bill Hicks came in, because, he's the third one to come into the case. You have Jaime Esparza, you have his Yvonne Rosales. There's so much wrong and all of that. I could go and talk for, hours and hours and hours about the whole case. But now we have another person that I've mentioned before. A lot of times I've made memes about him, John Briggs, because John Briggs was worked with Loretta Lynn Hewitt, right? He was the main prosecutor of these murder crimes, right, in the office, and he was working on 3 of them, and the Walmart mass shooting being one. And the open records say that his supervisor, Scott Ferguson, right, said that he failed to do even the most basic things to move the Walmart mass shooting case forward. Just the most basic. He was derelict in doing even anything, any little minor thing, simplistic thing to move the case forward. And that he was insubordinate. That he was absolutely insubordinate. So, so John Briggs was fired because remember Loretta Lynn Hewitt, right? Even said John Briggs. But wait a minute. Let's put the timeline. Loretta Lynn Hewitt was hired by Bill Hicks. So how did John Briggs get there to act the maggot for Loretta Lynn Hewitt to witness when we know that Yvonne Rosales had fired John Briggs? And knowing that Scott Ferguson, John Briggs's boss, his supervisor, knew that he was failing to do the most simplest things in the Walmart mass shooting case to make it move forward. weeks and weeks. They're sucking millions of dollars from the state and federal taxpayers. And he's failing. What is he doing during that time? Is he going golfing? Is he having, Christmas parties in July? What is he doing acting the maggot? Because he's not doing the most basic procedures that lawyers are supposed to do when prosecuting a Walmart mass shooting case. Like, that's not important. And he's not even paying attention to do it. Yeah, that is absolutely, yeah, he needed to be fired. He was fired. And so after Bill Hicks schemed with Bob Moore of El Paso Matters, which is El Paso Community Foundation, and who else? Bill Hicks, Joe Spencer, Bob Moore, Justin Underwood, the same players over and over again. They're criminals, y'all. These are just criminals. Can you imagine if we could just arrest these criminals, and make sure that they cannot do their crime? I mean, so many people would be spared the grief that they have thrusted on El Paso, because they know what happened with the Walmart mass shooting. They know more details. They have privy to a whole bunch of information that we don't. And, so just keep asking for open records, right? Keep asking for open records. So when Bill Hicks, they schemed to take down the duly elected district attorney, Yvonne Rosales, who had fired John Briggs. When Bill Hicks got in there as a usurper, he very quickly brought this do nothing but act the maggot prosecuting attorney back into the office with a felon, with a felon to manage the office. You got a felon managing the office that has connections. Well, let me say, I just call these, I don't know. Can I call? I want to say El Paso cartel. El Paso cartel. It's like, it just goes through my mind. It's like a song playing. As a matter of fact, I need to make a song about it, because I have this song playing in my head, El Paso cartel. El Paso cartel, acting the maggot, right? I mean, acting the maggot. Well, what a song. Maybe I'll do that. So that is what how John Briggs got back in there for Loretta Lynn Hewitt to have to witness it again, that he was acting a maggot. I think El Paso needs to say, we want a refund. We want restitution. We want a refund. We're not going to be a fool. We're not going to let these people walk over us, especially in a case that is so serious, like the Walmart mass shooting, that is so serious, like the whistleblowing case of Richard Halliday, that is so serious, like the murder of a whistleblower soldier like Richard Halliday. They absolutely cannot get away with the way they have conducted the district attorney's office in the 34th Judicial District. They cannot do that. And it's not just the district attorney's office. It is the El Paso Criminal Law Magistrate Court, right? That is absolutely non-functioning legally. It has no jurisdiction. Not one of those individuals that I know of is elected. You've got a bunch of imposter judges messing everything up. And if we don't have the rule of law, then we don't have human rights. Then we don't have our civil rights. Then we have no right to grievances. We have no right to being innocent until proven guilty. If we don't have the rule of law, it's going to get so ugly for uh, for us. It's going to be terrible. And so not only do we have a mess in the DA's office that we've been telling everyone about, and now, you've got proof that Bill Hicks is what we said, an imposter, a rhino. Right? He's not even a rhino. I guess, yeah, he's a rhino. He doesn't even consider himself. He only considers himself a Republican because it's kind of like a bribe, right, for getting the appointment. He's not installed properly. He's a usurper. He's an impersonator. But worse than that, worse than all of that, he has no honor, no character, no esprit de corps, no esprit de corps, no Medal of Honor ethos. He just acts a maggot. And and that's not a pretty scene. The same thing with Joe Spencer, the same thing with Judge Medrano, the same thing with Bill Hicks, did I say Bill Hicks, John Briggs. And we can name more. But that is really the breaking news today is the hard evidence that shows that, you know, John Briggs he's been up to no good. He is up to no good. And, when you see how all of that case has worked, and then the lone person that comes forward is John Briggs. Against Judge Medrano, because Judge Medrano was supposed to be taken off the case, right? Because he messed up with Jaime Esparza. He's just messed up. The one that came out for Medrano was John Briggs, who was doing nothing. So it's so obvious. Everything is so obvious, and they can't, they can't cover it up. God's already ordained it all that they are going to get caught. And sooner or later. And, and that's why um, the scripture reads the way it does. It's just very, very hopeful. And, so stay upbeat. We are doing things behind the scenes to continue to report this. You know, I guess God is teaching us a love for the law because I guess in our generation, the law was love, right? And the law is love. But our generation, I think it was like skewed a bit to think that you just have to be tolerant of everything and you didn't have to follow the rule of law. You can just allow the worst of the worst and, existentialism and all of that stuff. And now we're like, no, if we don't have a rule of law, then we have children, 500,000 children that are unaccompanied. If we don't have the rule of law, then we have the 500,000 children unaccompanied go missing and mostly dead. If we don't have the rule of law, then we're going to have a whistleblower soldier without care, without protection, getting murdered. If we don't have the rule of law, then we don't have the presumption of innocence. Then we have the grooming of young people into criminal activity. So, and I can go on and on and on. The consequences. If we don't have the rule of law, we have a family like the Hearts. We have a Leilani Hart confessing at the same time Richard was murdered that her family was engaged in the worst kind of crimes against children, the worst kind of crimes against each other and children, the worst type of, lawlessness like immigration violations and purchasing weapons with that are illegal, the illegal way, and having child corn, which is child torture. Um, you know, it's the worst. And in the family, inside the family, doing these things, and a 7-year-old being very abused in her master bedroom by multiple members of her family, and they were friends. Oh friend, oh friend, leave your children with with my um children violating family, right? And we'll go and have a good time, and then the child gets violated in her master bedroom by multiple members of the household. She facilitated that harm on that child. And so, if we don't have the rule of law, what kind of answer do we have for that? What kind of justice? And without justice, there's no peace, right? There's no peace without justice. So, yeah. Um, Wowzer, that was an amazing, amazing day. Let me see. Thank you, Danielle. Thank you for your prayers. Thank you for your stars. The board of licensure should be yes, we've the Texas um what do you call it, the Texas we've done so many of them and it's just late. Is it late? Oh, it's still kind of early. Bar complaints, yeah, the Texas bar complaints, we've done that. um Absolutely. Was Patrick a veteran was Patrick a veteran? I've suspected, because of some evidence that I have, that he was in a special program in the military for autistic soldiers, um, connected to New Mexico. Um, and New Mexico State University has a big department there for, you know, the study of autism. And his car, I don't believe, had a front license plate. So I don't know. But he was living in San Antonio in a pretty upscale apartment. Um, they know. They know. And they know if he had connection with Dallas Hart, right? Um, they know. So that is a lot of tampering has gone on for a long time. A lot of tampering. But it still seems to all be coming out. And we know for sure that John Briggs did everything in his power, or I should say, did nothing, so that the Walmart mass shooting case would not go forward. And so we have the hard evidence for that. So, okay. And that was, I have to tell you, that was more institutional support, how we got that. Um, we have a lot of institutional support right now. And you see that, okay, so the institutional support is not as important as you are, because they can't do anything without the mandate from the people. And that's why yesterday was so important, because the only way that Elon Musk, with Trump, President Trump, and he's, I can't imagine how busy he is right now trying to make all these appointments and handle all the, block all the arrows coming at him constantly. Um, But Elon Musk could never have done that without the mandate of the people behind Trump. You see, never. They would have blew him off. They would have been doing their Merry Christmas stuff and blew him off. But because the people are so sick and tired of this and see it for what it is and have given President Trump a mandate at the expense of President Trump, uh, not that I feel, he's fine. He has a beautiful life, right? But at the same time, look at he has two assassination attempts, um, uh, work from morning to night, probably late. I think sleepless nights, and I know what that is like. We're up till what, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning almost every night doing Richard's case so that we could live life. And even that is it's so busy right now. So because of the mandate of the people. So how we get responses now is far different from the responses we got in 2020 and 2021. There has been a huge shift. And I get fight, 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 fight. That's what I'm getting. Keep going, mama. Keep going. People are so sick and tired. And so, for a continuing resolution right before Christmas to be defeated with so much pork in it, 1,500 plus pages, and now, you know, in a matter of hours, they defeat that and they put together one for the because we have a lot of down trees here. I can't even imagine where it was really bad with the storms. And there's, I think, 4 or 5 states that they addressed for all of the cleanup still from that storm. Devastating storm. Um, you should see the piles and piles of mulch around here, right? So they put together, I think, 160 pages to fund that, and then also the farmers, of course. And I have behind me Justinian, and Justinian. If you read him, he was so successful. Byzantium, longest lasting empire in the history of the world, known history of the world. Now there's history we don't know, right? But 1,200 years, I think, maybe longer than that, Byzantium lasted, and we don't really even study it. But what was his groundbreaking beginning of Byzantium? Hard money. The Byzantium coin, they still find it even in China, right? It was loved everywhere. Hard, dependable coinage, not, just um, nickel inside of it with gold laid over, right? No, good hard gold coinage, dependable. Um, Also farmers, also borders, also military, and there was one other thing: military, border, farmers. I wonder if it was water. But anyway, but absolutely, you have to produce your own food. Food is not just is, right? Food is not just is. It is hard got. Hard work goes into it. And God blesses us with a huge crop if we are faithful, right? If we're faithful. And so, it's to make sure that that people want to be farmers, right? That people want to do that hard work and rain, storm, all the weather, all the different problems with crops and the fertilizers and all of that stuff, the different types of soils and you know, um, it's just amazing. I used anyway. Um, we have to take care of our farmers, and so much so that people want to be farmers. And that's really very, very important. So I think the 160 pages addresses the farmers and addresses the storm. Maybe a few other things, but 160 pages is far easier to read and get through than over 1,500 pages. So I think that that's going to pass. I don't know if it did. Maybe y'all know, but I don't know. So, but thank you so much, everybody. We really love you all, and we hope that you're staying in the Christmas spirit, that you're staying hopeful. I've gotten these beautiful gifts. Thank you so much. Beautiful cards. Thank you so much. Rob wrote our cards this year, so he sent them out. Um, lots of them. So just we really appreciate everybody. We love everybody. Thank you so much. And it seems, well, everything is in God's timing. I can't promise anybody anything. It's in God's timing, but we have our conditions, right? We have our terms for the art of the deal. We know it's going to turn out to be an art of the deal because Richard's case is so big. It's so big. And our terms are that we receive our son's remains, that those that murdered Richard are held accountable. Um, those that covered it up, right? Those are part of that. And also that Judge Roger Rodriguez, the key whistleblower in our case, that exposed Leilani Hart and Tavita Nusa and Dallas Hart. Without him, we would not know that. Um, and you know, was retaliated against severely in the media and everything because of his stand. Um, that's because I believe Dallas Hart, he's in the unit, right? The weapons trafficking and everything. And of course, with Western Frontier Trading and other businesses and stuff like that, it's Leilani Hart speaking Chinese and getting our mail at the right next to DPS, right? Right next to DPS. Um, yeah, yeah, without that, he needs to be rewarded. He needs to be rewarded. And so yeah, he needs to be rewarded, not just with a little position or whatever in the administration, with a really wonderful, magnificent position. That's our terms for the art of the deal. And please share that. Please share that with the Trump administration. We've been working very hard to do that with our, being in contact with them. And so, say a prayer, and the more people that request that, the better, the better. So, thank you so much. And, we'll be back tomorrow, God willing. Bye bye.